why you don't do the things you know you should do. And this happens to all of us. Let me tell you what I'm actually talking about. Okay, so imagine you have a bad habit of ordering food, right? Ordering delivery all the time. This is something that one of my clients is working with me with. And he can't control it. It's like he knows he shouldn't be ordering fast food all the time, but when he gets home and he feels stressed, and it just automatically happens. And the next thing you know, the food's there. He spent a bunch of money and he's getting fat, and he doesn't want to do this, but he just keeps on doing it. Okay. I have another client who wants to work really hard on his business, wants to, take action, but he keeps ending up smoking weed and watching TV because that's somehow all he has the energy to do. Like he knows he has a higher purpose, a higher calling, but he just can't get himself to do it, right? There's people who sign up for coaching courses and then they don't take action. They're like, I spent all this money. I know I should work on it. Why am I not doing the thing that I know I should be doing, right? There's all these things, right? There's people who know they should work less hard so they can take care of their health, but they just can't get themselves to like slow down. There's people who know they should work harder, but they just can't get themselves to be not lazy, right? So what the hell is actually going on? Okay. So let me give you some examples. Okay, let's take one of my clients, for example, who really wants to, push with his business, really knows what his higher purpose and calling is, yet for months on end now, he's only been able to just like get out of bed and basically watch TV and smoke weed. Now, granted, he's doing all these other things that are healthy, like going on walks, journaling, meditating, stuff like that. But when it comes to sitting down and working on his business, he just has this apathy, like no energy, like he just can't get himself to do it. Okay, so he was telling me about all this stuff, and the first step that I really do when analyzing something like this is just getting somebody to tell all their thoughts and emotions out, right? Because then we have a bunch of clues as to what the hell's going on beneath the surface, right? When things don't make sense at the surface level, that's when you know there's something weird going on beneath the surface, okay? So, I'm digging around looking for like disempowering beliefs, basically. Disempowering beliefs are belief systems in our brain that we don't even know are there that are preventing us from doing the things that we actually know we want to do, right? So for him, as he started talking, he mentioned that a part of him, really wants this like higher purpose, and another part really just wants him to be in the present and just enjoy what's happening right now, and not work so hard and not, stress himself too much. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, there's two voices going on here, right? So all of us have what I like to call, how do we call it? Like a C-suite, like an inner C-suite inside of our brain, our mind. Right? So in this situation, for example, let's say you are you, and then you have this voice one, which is, who knows, a person in your C-suite, and there's another person in your C-suite, and there may be multiple more, right? And they're all sitting around a table, right? They're all sitting around a table. Let me maybe draw a table. Okie dokie. So, they're all sitting around a table, right? And you're at the head of the table, you're the master at the end of the day, but there's all these people who are chiming in and making decisions and trying to make decisions, right? And so voice one, we gave him a name and we called him, I forgot what we called him. I think we called him like ambition. And then voice two, we gave him a name and we called him, let's see, how do I copy this guy? Okay, there we go. Voice two, we called him resistance, right? That's what he came up with. Ambition is the guy who, let's work hard, let's build a business, let's be purposeful. Resistance is like, no, let's be in the present moment, let's let's enjoy right now, right? And what I told him first was like, okay, there's these two voices, here's this model. Okay, can you see it? Can you see the imagery of you're at the head of the table trying to make a decision about, getting to work that day. And then there's these two other people at the decision making table who one wants to go left and one wants to go right. Okay? And so that's the first step, right? Is identifying the players at the table. Okay? Now, from there, what do? We basically, I introduced to him the idea that, okay, every voice, every player at this table is trying to do the best for you, right? Just like in America, we have Republicans and Democrats, right? They're all trying to do the best possible thing for the country. They just have radically different ideas of how to do it, okay? But they all have great, great intentions. Now, so what do we do about that? Because if voice one is trying to go left and voice two is trying to go right, then the end result is a conflict that basically cancels out the energy, and no wonder he has no energy. He has complete apathy when it comes to sitting down and doing work. In fact, most of the time, resistance was winning right now. That's why he was basically ending up just, smoking and watching TV all the time, even though he knows this other voice is like telling him, hey, dude, you got to live up to your max potential, right? So resistance is kind of winning this battle right now. Now, the key is to understand that both of these voices, these parts of us, are trying to do the best that they can for us. That they are both trying to serve us in the best way possible. And what I had him do was basically go and have a conversation with each of them, right? So, okay, ambition. I know that, you're really trying to help us push to my higher purpose and see what I'm capable of in this world. And I really appreciate that, you're really, not going away. You're really trying to make your voice heard because you know that my max potential is really high. And I really appreciate you for continually, showing up every day. And then resistance, it's like, hey, resistance, like, thank you so much for taking care of me. Thank you so much for reminding me that the present moment is so valuable, that we really need to enjoy every single day, that we really need to take care of our health, and we really need to not work too hard and lose ourselves in that, right? And I really value, what you're saying here, right? So then you essentially empathize and recognize what these two parts of you are doing for you, okay? And a lot of times that in itself is an extremely powerful, transformative exercise. And then what happens is that, they feel heard, they feel understood. And just like two coworkers, right? Imagine you're the CEO and you have two coworkers who are fighting and you're in the middle of it. You got to help them resolve it. Now the next step is to help them empathize with each other, right? How can ambition and resistance understand each other across the table, right? How can resistance understand that ambition wants to work hard because you have so much potential, right? And how can ambition understand that resistance wants to take a chill because, we don't want to get carried away working so hard that we forget about the present moment. Then at that point, basically, the idea is that you have a conversation between the two voices that are kind of going at it, right? And when they can successfully see each other's side of things and really empathize with, where each other's coming from, that's when they can start working together. That's when they can start, right, saying like, okay, how can we combine our viewpoints and make sure that, the person overall, like Alex, can both achieve his purpose and his potential and enjoy the present moment? How can we make that happen? How can we be on the same team, right? So that's the point at which, now the two voices aren't fighting each other. And literally you'll hear this in your head. Like from a client, it's like, he'll go down to sit down to work, but then this resistance voice will get super loud and scream. And then he goes to sit down to watch TV, but then this ambition voice will be super loud and screaming. But what you'll experience when the two have come to terms with each other is that, like, there's this like joint decision-making process. Like when you're sitting down to work, resistance is kind of like that supporter on the side that's saying like, hey, this is awesome, we're achieving your highest purpose, now just don't forget to enjoy the moment, enjoy as you're working it, right? And then when you go to sit down to watch TV, go to the beach, do something chill, ambition will be like, great, this is amazing, I'm so glad we're taking a break, because it's needed for us to recharge and rejuvenate so that we can get back on my purpose, right? So then they start working in conjunction, okay? So again, to kind of recap the ideas so far, when you know you should do something but you don't do it, and it happens over and over and over again, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're a workaholic, it's not because you're dumb. It's because you have all of these different parts of you inside that are at a decision-making table, and they're constantly fighting each other. Okay? They're constantly fighting each other. And if they're constantly fighting each other, either they'll cancel out and you just won't do anything, or one person will win and one person will lose, and then you'll constantly be in this tug of war where, like one person's idea of serving you wins out. But if, for example, resistance's idea of serving you is to chill all the time, well, smoking weed isn't helping you. It's destroying your health. But they don't care because they think that this is the most important thing for you. This is how we're going to save you, make you safe, right? Ambition is like, no, we got to work hard. This is how we're going to make the best for you. But he's also not listening to any advice on like, hey, we need to slow down, we need to rejuvenate, which is also not good for you, right? So in both essences, in essence, you need to take the best parts of both people's opinions and ideas and combine them so that you get the ultimate, good out of it. And there's a balanced decision-making process. Everybody gets their voice heard, and sometimes we go ambitious and sometimes we go chill, right? And that way you actually have a choice, okay? The key thing when you don't do the things you know you should do is because you don't have a choice. All of this arguing is going on beneath the surface and you have no clue what's going on. All you know is that you're instinctively doing that thing impulsively without any real control until after the fact, and you're like, why did this just happen? Why did I just order fast food again? Why did I just smoke weed again? Why did I just watch porn again? Why did I just work an 18-hour day again, even though I told myself I would stop doing that? And something really fascinating here, just to kind of tie things up here, is that people usually find that these voices are pretty similar to some other voices they've heard in their life. Sometimes their parents, a lot of times their parents. Sometimes these voices come from traumatic events where something happened in their life, and this voice got super loud. Like, like if you had a traumatic event where, your family ran out of money at some point, then your ambition voice might be super, super loud. Like, no, you can never run out of money again. Even if we get close, even if you have money, you still got to work extra hard. And, it's serving you in a way, but it's also hurting your health, potentially, right? Or maybe you worked hard all your life, which was the case for that client I was talking about. He worked hard all his life, but in the end, he wasn't happy. In the end, he was working hard at a job that he wasn't happy with. And this resistance voice is super loud now. He's like, see, I told you, right? Working hard doesn't work. We got to live in the present. We got to be happy right now. Life is going to end tomorrow, right? Which is also, it has its point, right? But it's not the full story, okay? So in essence, these voices are at the table. They usually always have something to say, and they usually are all meant to be good. Now, your job, if you want to be able to have a choice in the things that you do, is to help them work together, acknowledge what both of them are doing good for you overall, and then help them work together so that you can be like, hey, sometimes we go with voice 1. Sometimes we go with voice 2. At these times, it's appropriate to go with voice 1. At other times, it's voice 2. And then they mutually encourage each other, okay? And then at that point, Yeah, you have conscious control over these things that you know you should be doing, and you'll actually be able to change the habits, take the actions, whatever. So hopefully that made some kind of sense. Wasn't too woo woo or pie in the sky. But yeah, if you feel like you don't have any control over the things that you know you should be doing or not doing, this is very much very likely what's going on.